Welcome to our first set of tutorials. The purpose of these tutorials is to help you make clear products while minimizing headaches with pixelation or rejected files from the print company. This is brought to you by Masterprint Pro and SEF Graphics. Today we want to look at the basics of setting up a file to be print ready. I'll be using Adobe Illustrator for text since the fonts are written in PostScript versus pixelation that is caused through Photoshop. PostScript actually follows the font, and so it makes it for smoother text, and it helps you to have clear text when you actually print. We're going to create a new file, and what we're going to do is we're going to come up here to the top and click on to New. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to look at the size. What the size is, of course, what we have right here in this image is a 4:6 size. So if you notice on here, if you were to look at what it is not necessarily a 4:6. It's more of a 4 by 4.25 or 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. And the purpose for this, the reason for this, is because there is what is called a bleed. The reason why there's a bleed is because when a full color printer is actually ready to put your artwork into the printer, it's not only printing your artwork or your product, it is printing others as well. So basically there is multiple amounts of images on one sheet or one plate that is placed inside the actual printer, and basically that is what is ran, especially when we're talking about gang run. And what gang run means is that it's a bunch of artwork put on one plate and just ran through the printer in order to make a number of different products for each customer. Now, so what happens in this is that each one is combined together, and it fits on the actual page. And what this does is that when they're finished with that sheet, they actually put it on the cutter, and the cutter will actually cut yours to fit 4:6. However, the cutter will take an actual 1/8 of a bleed in order for it to actually cut yours in the right place to be able to get you the 4:6 and have it a clean cut on each side. So what you see is that there's an 1/8 of an inch that I've put as a guide on each side. Now, if you notice on here, what you'll see is that also not only will you see an 1/8 of an inch bleed, which is, of course, if you were to look at that, you'd see that it's an 1/8 of an inch, right? You also see another 1/8 of an inch. And that 1/8 of an inch inside is called a safe area. What that safe area does is that when you put text in there, basically what you're doing is you're making sure that your text doesn't get cut when they do actually make a cut. Okay, so basically you see that there's an 1/8 of a bleed on each side, and then there's a safe area. And so what you want to do when you're creating a new file, you actually want to accommodate for this 1/8 of a bleed. And since it's on both sides, right, you want to multiply it by 2, and 2/8 makes 1/4. So you want to do 4.25 by 6.25. I wouldn't really worry too much about the bleed on this unless you understand it and unless you're really good at coming together with that. So I'm going to show you how to make these actual guides so that you don't have to worry about this, and you'll make sure that everything works out perfectly for yourself. So then you see here there's a color mode, and the color mode is there's two different options. There's CMYK and there's RGB. The CMYK, it's cyan, magenta, yellow, and key, which is black. That is more for the printer. The printer has different ink cartridges, and each of these are represented as an ink cartridge. So it's very important that when you actually are creating your file and you're creating a new file that you have CMYK. RGB is red, green, blue, and that's really more for computer, the screen, when you're able to see the screen, or even also for web. And so we're doing right now print ready, and so this is what you want to use. And then also then you have the raster effects, and this is 300 ppi or 300 dpi. And what that means is dots per inch or pixels per inch. The more pixels you have inside of an image, the better, it's less grainy. So you want to be able to choose the right one. If you chose 72 ppi, you'll see it be very grainy. You won't be able to see it too well. It makes it very messy. So, and you're not able to change it once you do it. It's you just have it at that. You use 72. You use this for screen for web, and so it makes it for smaller files as well. So basically, now you click onto OK, and it's going to give you an artboard. This is what is called an artboard, and basically that is just what's within the lines. I'm going to actually do the guide for you here, and then I'm going to show you how to create it as a template in the next. Basically, what you want to do is you click onto the rectangle tool, and what you're going to do is you're going to click it, and basically it's going to pull up and it's going to show you some things. Now, the rectangle that you want, in order for it to be to have that bleed, you want to do 4 by 6, which that's what the actual cut is going to be of your page. A 4 by 6 postcard is what we're dealing with. So you do this, and now you see this black box. That's perfectly fine. We're going to look at it in just 1 second. Let's create another rectangle for the safe area. This is the bleed. We're going to create another rectangle for the safe area. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 1/8 of a bleed within the 4 by 6. So you want to take off 1/4 because you're doing 1/8 on each side. You multiply that by 2, it's 1/4. So what we want to do is we want to put 3.75 by 5.75, and this is going to create that safe area inside your actual artwork. So now what you're going to do is you see 2 boxes here. Use your selection tool, and you're going to highlight both of these areas. Now, what we have, and if you notice up here, you're going to notice that there's some things on my workspace. This is what is called a workspace on Adobe Illustrator, and what you're going to do is you're going to have an alignment. Now, many times people don't realize that there's an alignment to whatever you want. If you wanted to align to selection, what it's going to do is it's going to align to each other. And basically, if you press the horizontal center, it's just going to align to each other in that. Now, we don't want that. We want it to actually be a little bit more over. And imagine me trying to kind of eyeball this. If you did this, you'd say, okay, I'm trying to eyeball that to make it right. What you would want to do is you just click Align to Artboard. You do horizontal align center and vertical align center. And basically, it's going to line everything up to a T. You don't have to worry about moving anything else. Now, there's one last thing that we need to do in order to, because there's 2 black boxes. Of course, if you were to unhighlight, you wouldn't even notice it. It looks like only like 1. What you do is you highlight it, and in order to make these guides, you have to go up to View, go to Guides, and click Make Guides. What it does is it creates a guide around your artboard. The next step that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to place a template that you've made, preferably something that you've actually made out of Photoshop or something that you've manipulated and all the images are all together, the layers all together, and what you do is you normally flatten them and make them into a TIFF file. And then what you're going to do is with Illustrator, you're going to place them into this. Now, I have a couple of things that couple of different templates, but we're going to use this one that we're looking at. I'm going to place it in. Basically, again, you want to use the same kind of alignment tool that you used before. What you want to do is you're going to take this object, it's highlighted if you noticed, you go into lock this selection, and basically what it's going to do is going to lock this template back down so that now you'll be able to plug in text without having to worry about moving the artwork. This concludes setting up an Adobe Illustrator file for print so that you can print it in a offset printer. And please check out our other tutorials as we have more information to provide. Thank you very much. Have a good day.